Are we on? We are live. Welcome, everyone. Good evening. Welcome to another Talk, Listen, Share Shay's Warriors Life After Cancer online educational program. I'm Dr. Sonia Fung. We are joined tonight by our, we are joined tonight with Elizabeth and Shay, our cancer warriors and thrivers, and a little bit about, or to talk about, like rebirth, like finding new boundaries, finding new self, finding new, a new like relationships, how we deal with others, and in like cancer survivorship. So Shay's Warriors is a 501c3 nonprofit formed in the Coachella Valley to help our cancer community thrive after cancer. And the mission of Shay's Warriors is to inspire, inform, and empower through health, fitness, and the mind-body connection to help survivors and their families move forward through the trauma of cancer. So let's jump into our topics tonight with Liz and Shay.
Hi, everybody. Hope everyone's doing well. As Dr. Fung mentioned, we are going to discuss reinvention, finding purpose, reestablishing friendships that may have changed, or even relationships within the family, partners. So we'll talk a little bit about that. Both Shay and I are survivor thrivers, and we both have found purpose through our journey. And for me, reinventing myself meant finding hope when there was a time of darkness, and joining together with Shay's Warriors and participating in coffee and connections and different volunteering events. I was able to pinpoint and find certain things in me that I felt were helping me thrive. And in turn, looking into those things, I was really starting to venture out and talk to my friends, talk to my family, and just kind of get some feedback. And all of this really helped me get myself into a position where I was able to think clearly and really find my purpose. So for me, purpose meant that I was going to go back to school and find a career that was passionate within my heart. And for me, that was going to be social work and patient advocacy for patients in survivorship, cancer survivorship. So having that ability to really connect with survivors really helped me find that purpose. Having the opportunity to experience Shay's Warriors Reset Retreat also gave me an opportunity to really clear my soul. I was in a dark space. And I think when you're trying to find your way back into the new you, because the old you isn't there, it really is a new you once you've finished your active cancer treatments. It is a real thing. It is a new you. So you're going to want to find the healing process. And for me, the healing process began through that retreat. So I encourage anybody that is trying to find themselves to find an outlet, support groups such as our Coffee and Connections, joining any type of mental health therapy to help you navigate that journey, because it'll really help you clear your thoughts, and help you redefine who you want to be going forward. Um, and once you're able to do that, you will start to see that there are significant things that you find interesting and you want to pursue, whether it is something totally different, writing. A lot of people find that their purpose is now in writing books to care for patients in survivorship. For me, it is going back to school so that I could become a patient advocate and work social work. For Shay, her beautiful passion was to bring this beautiful platform to all survivors, and providing us this wonderful um, environment so that we have a safe space to share these types of conversations and um, learn from each other and grow so that we don't feel like we're stuck in the middle. I know I personally had that happen. And because I found this group with Shay's Warriors, um, I have made a lot of contacts and there's always support for me. So also, some of the things that have changed for me were some of my own personal relationships with friends. Some of them changed. Some of them, unfortunately, some of them, it happens in your journey. Some friendships don't survive because it's just changed. Some friendships change a little bit because they're still learning how to navigate the entire process with you. And then some friendships grow and you find that they are going to be your ride or dies, and they're going to help you get through that journey, and they're the ones that are going to support you, and you want to in turn um, communicate with them clearly what you need from that friendship. I think communication is so important at all levels, whether it's for your own personal reinvention, to reestablishing friendships, to healing the whole caretaker process within your family, because the family too, they also suffer through the journey. They go through a lot of pain watching you go through treatment, and afterwards it's a big change for them as well, because they went from seeing you um, go through all these treatments, and now you're kind of in a different place and they're trying to learn how to navigate with you as well. So communicating is going to be extremely important so that you guys can form and reinvent yourselves as a family, as a unit, as individuals. And it just helps grow each other, your friendships, to be strong. I feel that by doing this, I have developed better friendships with my friends. I've been able to reinvent some of those friendships that were having a difficult time during my treatments. And now we're at a point where we can communicate and we can talk about what happened, and understand where they came from, and they understand where I was going. Everyone, they take the cancer journey different, and being able to explain that to them in survivorship really helps them kind of heal themselves and be able to connect with you. So when you're going through survivorship, they're able to be there for you and supportive for you, and know the things to say and things not to say so that you feel supported, because sometimes some words may come out the way they are not intended, but they come out wrong, and it's not what you want to hear. You want to hear words of encouragement, so that you can continue finding your own direction and where you want to go. It's important that you take care of yourself so that you can find that space that you want to get into, so that you feel that you are growing and you don't feel like you're stuck in the old, you know, dark space. We all have opportunity to grow. You just need to give yourself the grace to challenge yourself to see what's out there for yourself. I think one thing that Shay has always encouraged is journaling. And I think that has helped me as well as I've gone through the process, and I can go back and read the things that I've wanted to focus on. And I go back, and it really helped me reevaluate what I wanted out of my future, and finding purpose and finding that spirit within myself. So I really encourage everyone to just dig deep, work through all of the difficult challenges that we do face, and you know, challenge whatever you think you can't do. You absolutely can do. You have a second shot, and anything is possible. You can do anything. You know, we are survivors, and we've gone through some of the harshest treatments. You know, I fully believe that we are more than capable of finding our purpose, finding ourselves, reinventing ourselves, um, and getting our friendships back on track. You know, you don't want to lose friends, but you also have an opportunity to find new friendships within the survivorship journey, and keep growing those friendships and reinventing yourself.
So, such great information, Liz. From your perspective, I mean, it's the thing about cancer is it ebbs and flows, right? And then even the life after cancer ebbs and flows. And some of the people, when you get cancer, some of the people that may be your best friends or may have been your family
Mm-hmm.
don't show up. And it's hard for us to understand that process, right? Because the thing about it is they're faced with their own mortality
Mm-hmm.
along with us. And we just need the support and the love and the encouragement to continue to have the strength to keep pushing forward. But we also end up in this realm of being hurt and feeling let down and disappointed because we thought that they would always be there for us. And it isn't until you get, or at least in my case, it wasn't until I got very far out of the cancer process or going through my treatments that I had to give them a lot of grace and empathy because they weren't there, and the understanding that they were facing their own mortality. And that is scary.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it is scary to think about going through cancer to people that haven't. And it's scary for us going through it.
Right.
Um, and it's scary, I think, especially for breast cancer patients, because there's amputations, there's years of surgery, there is losing who we were, our hair. I know you and I have talked about that before. And that's part of our identity as a woman, but especially as a Hispanic woman who has probably was born with 2 to 3 inches of hair when we were born, right? So we had never been bald in our lives. And then also, you know, the fact of losing a part of our bodies, right? And that's scary to other friends. Like, can't imagine how someone could go through that. But
Yeah.
then, you know, you do feel grateful for those that are by your side. And sometimes cancer brings the oddest friendships,
Yes.
right? People come together because of the cancer, and the bond that we have that no one else really understands, and hopefully they will never ever have to understand. You get those friendships in the chemo room or the radiation waiting room, or someone who just connects with you. If you're, in my case, I was writing a blog at the time going through that. And people that were acquaintances all of a sudden become some of the best support that you've ever had, right? So there is that balance of friendships and redefined, and it ebbs and flows, of course. And, we have to give people grace that we don't have to, I guess, right? We can do whatever we want, but it is, I think, in the realm of if you get past to the point where you're ready to then say, you know what, I'm going to give that friend grace because they weren't there, and try to reestablish what it was. And there'll come a time maybe that you want to address, this is how I felt. I think that's healthy sometimes if you're in that space at the right time to say, well, this is how I felt. And it was just really hard. And then to understand from their point of view and your point of view, keeping that open mind, open heart to have that conversation. Or maybe it's just something that you just say, hey, I'm pushing forward. By the way, that is my cat. That's Nala. And she likes to be a part of the show. So she's agreeing with us, right, Nala? See?
Yeah.
Told you. So I think that, that is part of the journey. And they are lessons that sometimes are hard to learn or deal with. But the one thing is the right people will always be in your lives for the right reasons, right?
Right. You're absolutely right. No, I completely agree. A healthy conversation. There does come a time, you don't always want to lose those special people. They were with you for, X amount of time, and you definitely want to go back and heal those friendships because they meant something to you. It doesn't mean that they don't mean anything to you anymore. You just need to find a way to heal it. And I think you're absolutely right, giving them grace and the opportunity to understand how it made you feel, and vice versa, them having that opportunity to share what they felt as well. And we all, we understand as cancer survivors that everyone reacts to their friends telling them that they have cancer very differently. Some are able to just pick up and keep going, and some just don't know how to navigate that journey. It just really takes a toll on them. And it's really a challenging situation on both ends. I don't think that they intentionally are trying to hurt us. So, I don't ever think that my friends were trying to hurt me by pushing back a little bit. I understood it's a difficult topic, but it was lonely. It's lonely enough as is, but when you want those people to be there for you, it was lonely to know that you couldn't reach out to them because they didn't feel comfortable having those conversations. But I think it's really important to revisit all of those relationships and try to work through them and try to heal whatever is hurting and move forward. And those friendships are going to change. It's not going to be what it was before. It's going to be a new friendship because now you're a new person. You're a different person, and your views and perspectives and what you anticipate has changed significantly. And you just want them to join your journey at that point. You got to turn left, come on board and let's turn left and let's go that direction, and move that way as we heal. So I completely agree. Communication is so vital, at all points, within friendships, even, communicating within your own soul, blogging, journaling. I think it's just so important to be able to address it, to yourself, to your friends, your family, so that you can heal, reinvent, reestablish, and move forward, so that when you are in your journey of, moving on to bigger and brighter things, that you can do that with pure joy.
What well said. Well said. What do you think what do you think is something that would help friends who maybe this is the first time that they've dealt with cancer? What do you think is something that you wish you would have heard from someone that maybe disappointed you or whatever? What do you give us some tips on what do you think that they should know or what would be helpful?
I think it's just a simple thing, like even just them asking, would you like me to take you to chemo today? Or would you like me to be there after chemo just to hold your hand? Or I don't think I expected much, because I didn't know what I was going to go through. I didn't know what I was going to feel, but I think I just wanted to know that they were there. Even if it was in silence, I was okay. I thought, it would have been so joyful for me to know, like when I got out of chemo, when I didn't feel so well, to see that special person, waiting to pick you up, or come by and they bring you a meal, or they came to visit. I think just that connection. I think it's just connection that I yearned for. I had a friend for years that, we're slowly getting back into it, and I just wanted her to just be there for me, and the communication was lost. So I it's hard for me. I don't want to choke up, because I missed her so much, and I needed her to just show up for me and just tell me I was going to be okay, and be, the friend that she always was. Um, I know now that she didn't know how to talk to me. She felt devastated. And as you said, Shay, she was questioning, am I going to lose my friend? And it hurt her to the core to think that there may be a day that I was not there. So to have those conversations and to share and say, I just needed you to be there, just to hold my hand. That's all I wanted. If you didn't understand, I was okay with that. I just wanted to see your face, to support me. And to have that face missing was really hard. But I think it's not giving up on your friendships as well, even when they're a little distant. Just continue to try, I think my regret is that I didn't myself reach out to her more. But I think I would have reached out and just said, hey, I'm thinking about you too. Hope you're okay, and vice versa.
Well, and I think too what you said, there's a little nugget of great information in there, and the fact that people don't know unless we tell them, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you said, I wish maybe I should have reached out a little bit more. because sometimes people just want to say, well, I didn't want to bother you, or, you know, just like, I know Dr. Harrington, she, every now and then she would send me text messages and just say, hey, I'm thinking about you. Or, you know, she'd be like, she'd send me like a little GIF or something like that. You know, I had a lot of friends that would do that going through the process.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that that's important. If you don't
Mm-hmm.
know what to do, just
Yeah.
shoot a little, I'm thinking of you.
Yeah.
Or give the person a call and just say, hey, I was thinking about you. You don't have to offer coming to see them or driving them to chemo or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
Just call them up like you normally would, because what we really want is just to kind of feel normal, right?
Yeah.
And kind of be treated a little bit of normalcy
Yes.
in our world. And sometimes we don't want to talk about the cancer while going through the cancer.
Yeah.
You know, I know there are days, and I'll be very, very, very honest. Some days when, you know, it's the weekend or something like that, I don't want to talk about cancer. You know, cancer is something now that it's in my life for a reason, and it is a purpose and a mission that I help. But then there are times where you want to go out with friends and you don't want to talk about the cancer. You
Yeah.
just want to feel a little normalcy
Yes.
to what life was like prior to the cancer, right?
Yes. Absolutely. You hit it the nail right on the head. It's yeah, you yearn for that normalcy. You don't want to always feel, we already think about cancer. Every time you go in for a screening, you're thinking about it. Every time a certain day comes, you're thinking about it. Every time this comes, you're thinking about it. It we do yearn for that normalcy and that opportunity to just be free, just let go and let our hair down and have a great time. Um, I can't. You said it. That yeah, perfectly stated.
Yeah, it's there's a balance. There's a balance somewhere in there, right? So, and you know, like, it also is something that brought us all together. Like, it had not gone through cancer, there would not be a Shay's Warriors Life After Cancer. There would not be an Elizabeth. Maybe I would have met you, but in a different realm, right?
Right.
And there's so many. This is so cliche, but there are so many gifts that come from the journey and the learning of cancer, and there are so many heartaches too.
Yes.
So I acknowledge that and see that, because not everyone's journey is great, or sometimes we lose friends along the way. But I choose to look at it in the light of, had I had not gone through that journey, I would not have met, and I'll go back to my days in the chemo room, Mr. Casanova, or the man with the orange shoes, or my friend Rhonda, and and of course our co-founder Eileen, who I had this amazing bond with and who helped so much. And so and Sandy from the retreat. I mean, there's so many gifts that I've learned along the way personally for me, and not everyone looks at cancer as a gift, but I choose to look that way because I feel like we can learn and we can grow, and we get a chance to, like you said in the beginning, choose, because we get a second chance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I completely agree. I think my accepting cancer as a gift was also a pivotal point in me being able to find the direction that I wanted to go in. I do see, it's weird to say that I've told friends this, that I'm thankful for my cancer journey because I've learned so much about cancer. But not only that, I learned about myself and how resilient I am and how strong I am and how capable I am of doing things that I always told myself I can't do. I can't do that. You know, 4 years ago, me telling myself that I was going to go through school and be doing well, I would have said, no, I can't do it. Here I am. I'm doing it and I'm doing well and I'm loving it. So it is a gift, it's a gift of life. It's a gift of learning. And it's a hard journey, but when you're willing to accept what was given to you and you are willing to see it as a gift, the gifts will come back to you as well.
100%. 100%. Dr. Fong, what about you? Obviously you didn't go through cancer, but you, I know, have lots of overlap with cancer being and also treating us. You're on mute, by the way, too. But what does cancer teach you? Because you, like us, deal with cancer almost on a daily basis, but in a different realm as a cancer.
Yeah. It is, you learn a lot about a person, and I just see that so many of my cancer patients are so much stronger than they think they are. They have so much the depth of strength. And they just constantly keep on keeping on. And you're like, even when sometimes it looks a little bit bleak and you're like, oh, well, we're going to do our best. They keep doing it and they keep pushing like 100% each time. And it's just like, oh, and, even with the different trajectories of people's journeys, when they're doing really well and you celebrate all the wins with them, right? And I think that is something that like I do for every patient, is we always find a win to celebrate, and every time, right? It doesn't matter what it is. Like it could be the smallest thing, but it's still a win. And to always have that positivity, have that hope, not like, kind of like airy fairy, like dream world, but like it's that kind of like, it's that faith, that they're going to do their best and pull through, and they're doing everything that they can regardless of whatever outcome there is. Because we don't know, like we're not omnipotent, we don't know these things, where and so it's like, okay, like we just take it a day at a time and a treatment at a time and just keep going. And yeah.
I talked to one of our amazing, resilient community members today. We had coffee. And when you talk about wins, she told me a win that she had. And she was in a they were not sure how the cancer gave her a lot of, or the treatments gave her a lot of neuropathy in her feet and stuff. So she went from a wheelchair to a walker. Mm-hmm. And she celebrated a huge win this week. She walked, I think she said 60, could have been 40, but she said she walked 60 steps by herself.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is that not the most amazing news ever?
That is, especially with neuropathy, that is definitely a win to celebrate.
Right?
Yes.
100%.
So I think wins are just so important.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that, Sonia, because I think sometimes we just focus on the negativity of I can't feel, I can't do, I'm sick, like all of that, which is important. But then also those wins are so important when going through that, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. And any type of like long-term chronic illness too. It's just like you have a long journey ahead of you. And so you want to make sure that like all your mileposts are positive. Yeah. You have something to look forward to. Yep.
Yes.
Awesome. So I know our time has flown by with all of this great information, so many, it's like a pile of nuggets there. So, so thank you so much for sharing your experience and letting us know, like especially people who have not gone through that cancer journey, like how important it is to keep like that connection, to keep grounded, celebrate the wins, do all the little things, like even and check in, like if nothing, just check in, And sometimes, as I've heard before, like maybe you don't want to see anybody today, but it's always nice, like Angela was saying online, that she loved when people just said, "Hey, I'm just thinking about you," texting. And that carried her through some dark days. And I think that that's what you were stating as well. It's like, hey, just check in, just say hi.
Yeah.
Just say that, hey, I'm thinking about you. I'm praying for you, whatever it is, sending healing energy, sending good thoughts.
So important.
Yeah.
Super important. Absolutely. So,
well, Elizabeth, thank you for so much for, talking about this important topic, so that others can understand a little bit more what survivors' needs are and someone going through cancer. Sorry, Dr. Fung, I literally talked right over you there. I have a little delay in my program here.
It's all good. I think we're going to wrap up tonight. And so thank you so much, Shay, as well, for sharing your insights. Always a pleasure to hear, and always learning, what cancer survivors need during and after in their survivorship. So it helps us, guide us as providers and friends, who haven't necessarily gone through it, to know how we can better serve our friends who are going through this.
And if you're a cancer survivor that's out there, email us, tls@shayswarriors.org, and let us know some topics that maybe you want us to talk about. And who knows, maybe we'll invite you to the show as well.
Yes, please. We're always looking for more topics to discuss. And I put the email address in the comments box. So please let us know what you want to hear. All right. There we are. Thank you, Shay. Amazing.
We're stronger together and a lot helpful together.
Especially when we're trying to figure out our streaming. Thank you so much. Have a great night, everyone.
Have a great night, everyone. Bye.
Bye.